Getting into a virtual talent agency is seen by many as the pinnacle of being a VTuber fan. This elusive position is the icing on the cake, and awards numerous opportunities and interactions that gotcha boys can only dream of. But what if someone were to apply for a VTuber agency with malicious intentions and, even worse, manage to get in? The career, if you can call it that, of Shindo Raito is just that. His record-setting 90% glitchless speedrun-induced alarm for both talents and staff of NIJISANJI alike. Raito's actions highlighted the major flaws in NIJISANJI's auditioning process and shook up the fanbase. His channel was taken down, his tweets deleted, his videos nuked from the face of the earth, and his 2chan comments reduced to mere rumor. The tale of Shindo Raito is shrouded in mystery, so sit down and buckle up, because we're going to piece together a clear story of the quickest career in VTubing history. Before I continue, I just want to make it clear that you shouldn't go harass the people that will be mentioned later. I don't mean for this to be some kind of witch hunting brigade, so please be civilized because...
We're not cavemen! We have technology!
Shindo Raito is a VTuber who debuted on March 8th, 2019. From his now deleted introduction video, Raito played the character of an energetic teenager with a head of messy hair and attire which would be typical of your average gamer. NIJISANJI's official page described him as a, quote, 18-year-old third-year high school student who belongs to the volunteer club. He behaves brightly to hide the trauma of his past. He likes playing video games and talking to people, although he has a habit of sleeping, unquote. His debut was nothing special from the usual NIJISANJI type debut of the time. A short 2-minute video going over his role at NIJISANJI, his interest in gaming, his likes and dislikes, and the rest. 2 days later, he started the first and last stream of his career. Soon after his debut, fans of Raito went looking for his personal account to see if he was worth supporting or not. Forums, image boards, especially 2chan, 4chan, and 5chan, were busy speculating the true identity of Shindo Raito, and sooner than later, they found their culprit. A now deleted user who went by HQQU0. What initially was a revelation, however, quickly spiraled into chaos. Posts on these forums mentioned Raito's dubious past life. His account reportedly has inappropriate tweets and leaked the personal information of fellow livers. Gossip started to spread. Reports of drug abuse, sexual harassment, and stalking emerged from several anonymous sources. On the following March 12th, the pressure reached the staff at NIJISANJI, and Raito's account would be terminated. NIJISANJI would release an official statement on his Twitter saying that he violated his contract and that his activities would end as a result. What happened to Shindo Raito is reminiscent of the well-known incident that happened with Mano Aloe, that is, suspicious tweets causing outrage in the community. But unlike Aloe, the topic was much more dire. First and foremost, the nature of these tweets was highly upsetting to the Eastern VTuber community. These tweets mentioned various instances of ofupako, derived from the Japanese ofukai, meaning meet up, and depakaru, which means to have sex. And it's not like once or twice or anything. 5chan dug up mountains, and I mean mountains of tweets, where he's basically saying, I am meeting up with women and having sex. Nothing too weird from a hormone-boosted down bad adolescent boy thirsting for the touch of a woman. But remember, this took place in a pre-VTuber boom Japan, so the audience treated these talents more as waifus or as bandos than as streamers. A fraction of concerned fans saw this as
sacrilegious.
Having these extremely horny tweets damaged the initial image of Raito. He was no longer pure among this group, no longer worth supporting in their eyes. This isn't to say no one supported the new VTuber anymore. As multiple fan arts show, there were some people who understood these comments came from a different time, while others ignored it altogether. But this is where the differences between Mano and Raito end. While Mano Aloe was a victim of Hololive's lack of management, Raito dug himself his own grave. The deeper you go, the more disturbing and weird it gets. An anonymous 2chan user posted the following transcriptions of now deleted tweets. There are 3 of us here. I'd like to play with Moenashi and Ichire, so I'm waiting for women. Aphrodisiac is mixed with various strings of the off-party. Tenga egg with everyone's strings of the off-party. Yes, mix everything. You can play with F-cups for free. I would like a 2-day system. With the amount of sex this guy's allegedly having, he's pretty much fueling the moisturizer industry. These are just a small fraction of the tweets, but they all have the same themes and vibes. Taking women to ofupako, drugging them, and manipulating them into having sex. Just general small dick energy from the alleged man behind Raito. What perplexes me is why he posts all his thirsty shit online and then crowns it like some scratch and sniff sticker you get for being the fastest kid in elementary school. Even after Raito joined NIJISANJI, HQQU's thirst train didn't stop. He continued to post just the most out-of-pocket shit on his profile. If his tweets weren't bad enough, this man walks the extra mile to change his Steam profile picture to the NIJISANJI logo, basically having an arrow pointing at his head. Man saw what happened to Aloe and was like, "Hold my beer. Like, I understand you're happy that you got in, but, like, you kind of signed a legally binding NDA. Are you this committed to the getting fired speedrun?" Raito's limited time at NIJISANJI didn't limit how violating he would be towards the female livers. He would supposedly DM members of NIJISANJI gamers, seeds, and the rest with a request to hook up and make out. In one of her streams, Sasaki Sakura briefly mentioned her conversations with Raito, noting that he was quite, quote, creepy when interacting with her, unquote, as well as just a really weird guy in general. Because of these mentions and statements, rumors started spreading on online platforms about Raito and HQQU. Some people say they had been personally stalked by HQQU. Others said that Raito had applied for the sole reason to get with the girls. It was wildfire in the Japanese VTuber community. At this point, though, the damage had already been done. Even if there was no relationship between Raito and HQQU, the reputation that Raito had in NIJISANJI had been shattered permanently. Just hours before NIJISANJI decided to terminate the contract, Raito started leaking data on other talents, revealing their personal information to the public. Obviously, this information was quickly taken down, and it served as the final nail in the coffin to end Raito's reign of terror. This was a severe breach of contract. If his sus tweets wouldn't do him justice, this surely would. HQQU didn't have a problem with letting the world know how horny he was, but he crossed the line when he got other NIJISANJI members involved. There was no clear reason why he did this, just speculation. Some thought it was to blackmail other NIJISANJI talents into getting with him. Others suggested it was a final gambit to cause chaos because he knew his time had come. The reactions of the community were, well, just as expected, in favor of his termination. While some people were saddened by the loss of Raito and wished him the best in future endeavors, an overwhelming majority of fans were glad this period was over. Hell, a group of fans foresaw his termination the second he debuted, and started a timer to see how long it would take for Raito to get fired. Nevertheless, the replies on NIJISANJI's official Twitter statement were in support of their decision. The community came together to stand with Yuzuki, the artist whose work was used for Raito's avatar, and mourn the loss of a vessel who never received a proper soul. The brief career of Shindo Raito, and the controversial results that NIJISANJI faced, serves as a reminder for VTuber companies and applicants alike. Just because a VTuber streams in a virtual avatar and puts on a persona that's different from their own, doesn't mean that they're a completely new individual. Despite reborn being a popular term for someone becoming a VTuber, the truth is far from it. Being reborn gives you a new platform, and partially a new audience. It doesn't, however, give you a new life. And if you think that your past life is safe from big tech, chances are you need to take your schizo meds. What the internet hive mind is able to deduce is scary beyond reasonable knowledge. Speech patterns reveal psychology, voices give way to individuals, and most importantly, hips never lie. It goes without saying that new and aspiring VTubers keep in mind their previous personas are never safe. The best option is to erase all traces of your past life, though the internet archive is just around the corner. And although the disaster that Raito brought upon was unexpected, it was NIJISANJI's fault as well. Faulty background checks and hasty interviews were likely the reason that Raito got in NIJISANJI in the first place. It's possible that Raito was a bad apple that managed to blend in, but even so, management was unable to spot the clear red flags in Raito's application in previous accounts. With the growth of VTubers as an international medium, there has been an increased security and protection of talent identities, though this is not to say it's perfect. The newer wave of corporate VTubers are concealing their past lives better and better. For example, the potential drama that could have resulted from Vox Akuma's past life was silently swept under the rug. Sanity checks have been put into place for VTuber auditions to make sure you're not a stan hellbent on sipping the blood of your Oshi. And while Raito is one of the biggest and most record-shattering mistakes that NIJISANJI has made, it's good to see that other companies have been picking up the slack. Hello, post-Unseen Self here. I just wanted to say that a lot of research for this video was done by digging through translated 2chan threads and archived Twitter posts. And given the passage of time and NIJISANJI's efforts to improve public reception since this, I may have missed some finer details. Also, to reiterate, don't go harass anyone I've mentioned, that should be clear. And with that, thank you. See ya.